church, but this is what we're having to do. Before y'all worry about us, at first we were using different folks, but at this point we're only using the handful of us that have been around each other a little bit through this. And what you see is the entirety, besides the person filming, that is in this room at this time. This is it. We are trying to stay safe, and if we hadn't already been around each other, we probably wouldn't be doing this, but we've pretty much been around each other from the get-go. So family and just a few other folks. You guys continue to stay safe. I know it's hard. I know it's a very frustrating thing to kind of not get out. I bet y'all are going crazy. And I bet most of you never thought you would want to be going back to school. We're going to have a discussion tonight, instead of me just lecturing you this Wednesday night. We're going to talk about friendship. The Bible says a ton about friendship. And what I find interesting is, and the three folks that I have with me, they all have approached high school. Now, Delaney's out, but she agreed to go ahead and talk to us because you've been seeing her do worship. But they all approached friends in high school a little bit different, and I'm going to let them share some about their kind of approach, and then we'll talk about what friends meant to them, and then we're going to look at the remember, we're doing the 15 questions that Christian kids ask or want to know the answer to. And I will challenge parents, if you're watching this, at the end of this, if y'all want to have a family discussion, talk about your kids' friends and how they feel about the relationship, and if it's good or if it's bad. And if they are in a bad friendship, open the dialogue of how to change that. Because one thing I found very interesting, God gave you the gift of separation. You've had probably a month now where you weren't with your friends. So you can make some choices when you go back to school, whatever that may be. It seems to be getting farther and farther away. Maybe August at the rate we're going. But when you go back, you can make yourself be somebody different. Okay? So let's talk about friendships. We'll start with Saul over here. Saul, tell us, Saul is kind of that guy, when we were talking about this, he tries to be friends with everybody. So give me your theory of friendship a little bit.
So my theory of friendship is really going on, I try to be friends with everybody. I do try to be friends with everybody, and mostly at church. And that's just because I feel like a relationship with a foundation of God is going to be stronger than any relationship that's compared to somebody who just met on Tinder or something, or on Instagram. I do try to be friends with people outside of church, just because that's what Jesus tells us to do. It open up to other people, let them know the gospel.
But would you say the people that you're really intimate with are basically church friends?
Yes.
Now, you have, I guess that would be important. Do y'all think there are different levels of friendships? What do y'all think?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's what I would call intimacy level, and then there's like the people that you go to school with every day that you sit at their table and do all that kind of stuff, right? Now, Delaney, your theory of friendship was a little bit different, wasn't it? How was it different than his?
I think for me, I was very like, not picky, but like very just like considerate of like the friends and the people that I had surrounded myself with, and it was by choice. So I kind of had like that good small group of friends, and then I had like the people that I was friendly with that I probably wasn't so close to, but I was like still got along with them. And then most of my friends, like they all went to church, and so like.
So you told me when I first asked you this that you really didn't have friends in high school that much.
I had like one or two.
Yeah.
I had like a few.
So Taylor, yours was even a little bit more different in that you really wanted an intimate friend. You wanted that kind of best friend person, but man, the quest for it was tough, wasn't it?
It was really hard.
So middle school was a really hard time for you, wasn't it?
Yes.
Why was it so tough?
I don't really have like that close best friend thing that everyone else had. And I had friends, like people I talked to and stuff, but they weren't like, oh, that's my best friend, and I didn't really have that.
I mean, you had the girls in your life, the girls you'd known your whole life, and you'd hung out and run around with them. And there was nothing wrong with them, but you wanted that
Best friend.
that one, that person that got you, right?
Mhm.
Do y'all have that? Do you guys have that best friend that gets you?
I do now.
You do?
Mhm.
Actually, you have a few now, right?
Mhm.
It took a while though,
It
didn't
did.
it? Yeah. Do you? Have you got a girlfriend like that?
No.
Do you feel like you're missing something by not having that?
Yeah.
Why do you think you don't?
I think I'm kind of at the stage where like it's hard for me to find that one girl best friend that like I actually can trust and like tell things to and know that like this is, hey, I can trust you and I don't have to worry about like you going behind my back or like. And I'm very kind of like, since being off in college, I'm very like distant from people, so like I don't see many people, especially right now, but
It's kind of hard, and I mean, you've experienced leaving school. When you first go to college, it's, you know, especially if you're
Yeah.
commuting like you are, it's a tough thing to actually get in an intimate friendship with somebody just walking into a class or something. And a lot of the friends you had at school, you probably don't talk to them much at this point. Yeah,
I don't
because
see any.
everybody kind of goes their own way, don't they? You think girl friendships are harder than guy friendships?
Yes.
You've seen them. Why do y'all think they're tougher?
Girls are mean.
Girls are mean.
What do you think, Saul? Do you think girl friendships are harder? Saul's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not talking about girls now.
I mean, I think I get along with all my friends. That's,
Do you have that one guy kind of friendship? Do you
I
have
have
that?
I have a few.
You have a few like that?
Depending on like, if it's sports, I might go to one person. If it's outside, right, like shooting, going hunting stuff, I might go to another. But like it seems like I have one for like each thing I like to enjoy.
So whatever activity you're in, there's different friends. And I know that you guys all played sports.
Yep.
That opens the door for a whole different set of people in your life, doesn't it? One of the things I loved about sports is that it gives you the opportunity to make friends with people that you might never have talked to had you not played that sport together.
Not even just sports, band too, because that's where I met my best friend.
Yeah, band.
Anything.
So those activities, I feel like if you suffer together, whatever it is you're in, if you sweat and suffer together, you bond together, don't you? And it's pretty positive. Now, have y'all ever, and obviously we're not wanting to out anybody's, this is not about an individual person, but have you ever had a friendship or had seen friendships or friends that had friendships where those friendships were what I would call just toxic? Have you ever had been in a relationship, Saul, that you felt like was really not good for you?
There was a few in my middle school, like when I was in middle school, that were like that. But I think, like being on a football team and having like my sophomore year, where there's a lot of spiritual leaders on that team, and so having them kind of took me away from that and really helped me.
But even on the football team, you have to have a special. You got to be strong, right? Because there are
A lot of temptations.
some people that are okay with some stuff that, as a child of God, you might not be okay with. I remember when Garrett first became a freshman, there were some guys that, you know, their goal was to make him chew tobacco. They thought he was not a man unless he chewed tobacco, and they used to laugh at him. You will chew tobacco before this year's over, and it was like, it was a joke. But then you're a freshman in a room full of seniors. It kind of ceases to be as much of a joke. There's a lot of pressure to doing what they want you to do. Have you ever bad friend situation where it really?
Yeah, I think in early high school, like I had several toxic friendships, and I was doing my best to like try to minister to them, but it got to the point where like it was either I'm going down with you or I'm just not gonna have to include myself with you as much as I did. So I wasn't like necessarily like I just pushed them away completely and rude to them. I just separated myself to a point where like I can't do these things with you if this is what you were gonna do.
So that's hard. Because you like the person or you
Yeah.
wouldn't be in a friendship with them. How do you come to the realization that this is bad for you? What light comes on? Does somebody outside say something, or is it something you just realize from a conviction?
I think for me it was how like conviction, like how I was raised and like what I believed in, and like you had two different like cultures, and that can factor into it greatly. But like it just.
See, I know from a youth pastor's perspective, I'll see kids and they'll bring their friends, and I'll spend a little time with their friends, and I worry because, and not that I dislike this person or don't dislike this person, but I can see a little bit about the way they behave or the way they talk or the way they look at the world, and I know, man, that's going to be a struggle down the road for you if you don't get a handle on that, right? What about you, Taylor? you ever have any what you would call bad influences or bad friends in your life?
Yes.
What that look like for you?
It was mostly in middle school though, and just girls were like that in general. So.
Middle school's, I tell my girls, if you could get through middle school with your relationships, and then people, for boys in middle school, they're just, no offense, they're stupid. And they're just they're like, me play ball, girl pretty. I mean, that's basically middle school for boys. And they're just rolling through middle school having fun. And if a girl comes and says, you're my boyfriend, they're like, yay! And then they never talk to them again until they break up. But for girls, they are, I think, a little farther down the road emotionally, but not emotionally enough to be mature. And it becomes a real, they're figuring out who they are, and it can be pretty tough. It can be a very hard, lonely, and I know maybe some of the girls that are listening to this now, you feel very alone in middle school. I remember you getting in my car crying and just saying, you probably don't want me saying that, but just saying, I want somebody who gets me, right? Because I know we don't always feel like we fit. I know that was my deal. I didn't feel like, that everybody understood who I was. Y'all ever felt that? Like that you were maybe a square peg in a round peg world? And I mean, I know, okay, maybe not all of us, but I know I did, boy. I did not. It was a tough thing. So, you talked about severing those relationships and realizing they were bad. Have you ever had to break some things off and go a different direction? Or seen somebody that did? What advice would you give somebody who's in that place? How would they do that?
It's scary, like being friends with people for so long and then knowing they're not good for you.
And that doesn't mean they're bad.
No, not bad. They're not bad people or anything. Just that you're not happy in the friendship, and it's gonna be hard. But just find friends in the activities that you enjoy, like band and athletics, extracurriculars. That's kind of what I had to do. I just had to find friends in the stuff that I did.
I think high school funnels you, if y'all understand. Like pre-high school, everybody's trying to do everything. There's 50 twirlers and there's 500 cheerleaders, and everybody makes the basketball team. And then when you get into high school, things start funneling, and the higher up you get in the grade, the more narrow it gets. And varsity only has a handful of people in some of those sports, and all that 30 people that were playing are now down to like a handful of folks. And that funneling is not necessarily a bad thing, because then it forces you kind of to pick people that are riding the bus with you 3 times a week, who are staying after school with you, sweating on a band field for hours a couple times a week. I mean, it does force some commonality, and that's a good thing, right? So when we talk about this, just because it wasn't, when we say bad friendships, I'm just saying maybe that it's not that either person was bad, it's just the two of you together were not what you could have been, right? Because of who you were. What would you do? I mean, how would you move away from a bad friendship? Have you ever had to? How did you do that?
I mean, it is hard, like Taylor said. It's probably the most difficult things you'll go through in your life. There's I have had to push away some friends, and I've had luckily I've been able to let some friends in, and it's hard in the sense that you don't know what's going to come next. In high school, like you said, everybody's
Friendship's risky, isn't it?
Yes, as a freshman, everybody's doing from middle school, going into freshman year, everybody's doing everything. Got 50 people on the football team. Like in one grade, you got 20 freshmen on the basketball team. Everybody's doing everything, which that's fine. But then, as you said, as we go on, people start to leave, and sometimes you might have a good connection with the person that might have left, and now you're all by yourself. And so that's one.
Isn't that the greatest fear? That you're going to wake up one day. I remember you saying this to me one time. You're going to wake up one day and have nobody. I have no friends, and I know that for you was a huge a huge fear. You ever worried you might wake up and go, gosh, I'm just by myself now, right? How about you? You don't worry about it too much, do you?
That's me right now.
That's you right now. So you're living it. How is it? Tell us about it. It's not good, is it?
No, it's not fun.
All right, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you
Oh
off.
no, yeah, but it is scary, not knowing, but thinking that even with people who move away, like you grow up with them all your life, and they move schools, or they might graduate early, or they might stay back a grade, or they might hang out with different people now that you don't feel too comfortable with it. There's different scenarios that for each friendship that's kind of scary if it's broken.
I know for you personally, just sharing, that you were friends with my son Garrett Dim's age group, and they're like 2 grades above you. And I know they kind of brought you into church. I was terrified. I never said this to you, this first you know. I was terrified that when they graduated, would you stick? Because you suddenly didn't have all those guys, and you were one of those guys. They were 2 grades ahead of you. And I'm very proud that you managed to make new friends and you moved on and stuck. But a lot of people, I mean, that would be a tough thing because they were your anchor in the youth group for a long time.
Yeah, and so that was one of my fears. I don't want to bring it up, but yeah, I mean, those were the spiritual leaders when I was a sophomore. Going into the football locker room, they were the ones who kind of kept my head straight and didn't let me do any dumb bad stuff that would get me in trouble. But yeah, when they graduated, my junior year, because that was when I started, and I was really worried about how I was gonna.
That was an interesting group of guys.
Yeah.
They were a posse of brothers, man.
And they still.
If anybody's been around, they fight each other in a heartbeat. I remember an incident on a Wednesday night when 2 of them were on the floor. But they were brothers, It was over in 30 seconds, but everybody looking at us go, "What's going on?" And you're like, "It'll be all right."
They
were flicking that wand on each other. It's so silly. I really appreciate you guys. It's tough to sit in front of your peers and to have a conversation. I wanted to have them here because I want you guys to understand you are not going through the friendship dilemma alone. I think no matter who or how you see the people that you're looking at, you can relate in some way. The positive news is this. I mean, I've got some friends from when I was in college, and I don't talk to them for 3 or 4 years, and it's like we've never been apart. We went on a choir trip. You guys that went on the choir trip just a summer ago, and my buddy showed up with his wife and swam with us. I haven't seen him in years, and I felt like, wow, man, we haven't been apart. There's my friend, there's my bud. 5 seconds, we're back to just like we were before, we ever were apart. And that is there are friendships that will last you through life. The question that the 15 questions I actually asked, and I want to make sure that I answer those. The 15 questions, there were 2 on friendship, and that was, how do you take a stand with your friend, and what do you do when you have a friend who's becoming rebellious? So the question was, if your friend is going down a path that they shouldn't be, how do you help them?
Don't give up on them.
You just gotta tell them, you gotta be honest with them.
Honest stinks sometimes, doesn't it?
It's
That's
if
what
you're
they need, though,
if you're their real
sometimes.
friend, you'll do it. I mean,
But you said something really quick. What'd you say?
Don't give up on
Do
them.
not
don't
give up on them. Like if you love this person, I've told my kids through their life as they dated people, and in high school, middle school, you break up. You don't get to be mean because at one point you really cared about that person. And just because you're not with them anymore doesn't mean that you didn't care about them. And that's how I see friendships. Like you poured into that person. Even if they start down the wrong path, you gotta love them, but you've got to be, you said, honest with them, right? What do you say? So,
Yeah, you can't hesitate with your friends. If any sign of hesitation, you're starting to kind of slow down, and you don't want to slow down when you want to pull somebody out of a dangerous situation. You want to be honest. You don't want to.
face to face.
Yeah. Honestly,
texting's not
Don't
face to
do
face,
it
by the way.
text.
Oh,
Yeah.
not through text.
Yeah, that's not.
Not through
No
the phone.
FaceTime. It's honestly, you can text them that you're on the way to talk to them.
Yeah,
but
there you
they
go.
gotta
I'm
talk.
good.
Like face to face.
Friendship takes time,
Yeah.
and it takes pain, and it
You
takes
may have to
effort.
baby them for a little bit, but it's fine.
But the key is they'll do it for you someday, right?
You just gotta love them.
And there were 2 questions about friendship in the 15. The second one was, how do you separate from bad friends without hurting them or making them think you're stuck up? and how do you be a witness to your friends. So we talked about the separating yourself, but how do you be a witness to a friend? If you realize now that you're in a friendship with someone that doesn't know Christ, how do you do that?
I mean,
You don't want to like push it at them so fast, like throw it in their face, like you need Jesus, but you need to like kind of try to talk to them about it.
So like invite them to
To
church.
church.
yeah,
That's a good
that's what I kind of did throughout high school. I was like, hey, we're having this, like, y'all should come, and it was like just the small stuff, and eventually they did
It's
come.
not
Now, let me turn a corner for this, and let me look over here. When you invite them to church, do not walk them in the building or have them show
leave
up,
them
and then you
alone.
leave them
No,
sitting
no,
there
no.
while you go hang out with all your friends. Because I see that all the time. It's like this person, and they're terrified, and they walk in, and you're like, oh, hey! And y'all go over to a corner and just leave them there. And then it's, you know, the old youth pastor going, how are you? Let me go get you some. You know, you guys got to stick it out with them.
Now, on the other hand, the invitees, don't be hesitant to go up to anybody. I know we don't bite. We might scratch a little, but we don't bite.
There
Like, I know if you like playing Smash Bros, like, there's a big group of guys that, like, enjoy every Wednesday. We go on up and play Smash Bros. And, I mean, don't hesitate to ask them for a remote, because,
Yeah, if you see someone you don't know, try to talk.
And the guys that are on the couch, and I see this too, I'm glad you brought this up. Here's a new kid, and they're standing at the end of the couch going, oh, man, I really like to play. And nobody looks up. Hand the kid the remote and drag them into your group, right?
Yeah.
We have to see what's going on around us. As the body of believers, I love this. Jesus said, the way that we love each other is our greatest testimony to the world. How we love is how people know that Christ is in us. So if we love each other, and when people are among us, we love them, and we love our friends, and bring, as Taylor says, you can't beat them with the Bible. You might have to play basketball with them for an entire season before you can say, hey, you want to go to church with me tonight? And then when they do go, stay with them, sit with them, hang out with them, thrust them into your groups, and it'll help them make friends and become a part of it. So just talking about friends, I'll throw this out to you. The Bible talks about friendship like crazy. I just grabbed, here's the Bible talks about, and this is all choosing friends. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be deceived. Bad company runs good morals. You got to be careful. Proverbs 22:24 through 25. Make no friendship with a man given to anger, nor go with a man, wrathful man, lest you learn his ways and entangle yourself in his snares. Realize that what your friends do rub off on you. Proverbs 13:20, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of a fool will suffer harm. Proverbs 12:26, one who is righteous is a guide to his neighbor, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. I can go on and on and on and on. The Bible says your friendships are important. And in my opinion, just as a youth pastor, who you choose to be your friends make or break you in high school. Make or break you. You make a bad choice right here and you can destroy yourself in high school. It's just that flat and that serious. So I say to you, one of the most important choices you will make in middle school and high school is who you give your heart to. And I'm not talking about boyfriend and girlfriend because that stuff comes and goes. But I'm talking about those same-sex friendships that last through a lifetime. That girlfriend or that guy friend that you make and you bond to. So, love you guys watching these videos with us. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
It wasn't too bad, was it? I may be using them for different things. Like I said, I'm trying to limit the people that I use, and I'm trying to limit me just lecturing you. So we're trying different things. So we'll be getting back with you as we do different things. We may put a plea out. Everyone talked to Jordan about this, but we may try to do a thing where I get you guys to shoot us some videos of like you reading your favorite verse or something, and we might throw a little montage together. Jordan was kind of working on that. If you guys don't know this, my daughter Jordan is making these videos, and she's been filming. I think she's doing a great job. She was like, I want to do it, Dad, and she's done great. So if y'all need me, do not hesitate to text me or call me, or anybody on this panel would love to talk to you. We're here for you guys. If Taylor doesn't fall asleep here in the middle of it, she's done. Her people quotient is up. Let me pray for you guys, and we're going to get out of here. Oh, and are you going to tape on Friday? You talked
Yes.
about that. Tell me about this.
So on Fridays, I'm gonna call it the Fellowship Friday. So I will do 3 songs, and sort of what I did on my first video I put up a few weeks ago. I had Worship Wednesday, but just so it doesn't interfere with anything else, we'll be uploading those videos on Friday. So it'll be 3 songs with a small message. It should not last more than 25
It's something
minutes.
he's doing. Jordan may film those for him. We definitely want a link on. We'll send out a remind with the link on, and we may go ahead and put them on the channel. We talked about doing that, so you guys can find them right here on the CBC Henderson Youth channel, and that's something he's doing on his own. So I'm proud of you for doing that, and you guys check it out. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for us having this opportunity to share the word. Be with those that listen to this. Be with parents as they enter into discussion with their kids after this about their friendships and you know, maybe they could help in some way. God, we just pray that you protect the people that have this virus and those that do not. Help us stay at home and be safe. And it's hard not to want to get out and do stuff, Lord, but help us just make good choices through all of this. Be with our church and our church family. Be with Luke as he's getting ready to travel here, Lord. We're excited about him becoming our pastor. And God, we just love you so much. All these things we pray in your name. Amen.